Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Petersen.
All right, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. As always, we're bringing that Friday energy to you guys. Nice and sunny here in Tacoma, Washington, so I'm sure it's sunny everywhere else because we're always the last ones to get sun. Speaking of sun, our guest today, Randy Dyck, is in the same area, so I'm sure he understands, up there in beautiful Vancouver, BC. Did I say that correctly, Randy? You're in Vancouver?
You sure did. Yeah, just outside of Vancouver. I'm on the Pacific. I see the ocean right now and the sun is shining. Hallelujah.
Okay, there we go. Randy is with eXp Realty. He has sold over 7,000 homes. And he's here to talk to us about working with real estate investors if you're working with real estate agents, and then also scaling your business, mindset, a whole bunch of stuff to go into here. So Randy, I'm excited to jump into it. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, Gabe.
Absolutely. I told you before we get on here, we always like starting with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story in real estate and tell us how you got here?
The quick version, 1992, got my license, rookie of the year, worked my tail off, flat broke, bank knocking at my door, asking me, you got to give us the keys. I said, give me another 2 weeks. I'm working hard. And eventually, found my way in the game of real estate and earned a lot of commissions, selling 7,000 homes. Took all that money, loved to invest it in what I was selling people, and I became an investor very early on. Within the first 3-4 years of becoming a real estate agent, I just started investing, and I really invested with one individual, and together, then we've just continued to partner with others. And here I am with a sizable amount of real estate. Condos, apartments, industrial parks, storage, development. So I've kind of done everything and anything, but made my real money helping people buy and sell real estate.
Nice. I like it. And whenever I talk to somebody on the show who got their start in real estate as an agent, I always like to ask, because I myself have so many times bought the course to get my broker's license. Never actually done it, but I always like to ask, if you were to take all your hats off and think about if you were to sit in the perspective of an investor, their main focus is buying commercial or single family properties. Would you suggest that they get their broker's license?
I'm going to say it depends. Here's the challenge with being a realtor and having your license. You often don't treat yourself as a buyer. You have to say, this week, this day, whatever, I am going to dedicate this day, this week to me as an investor, as a buyer. Because what happens is you see all these great deals come across the table and you go, I know somebody that could buy that. And so you're thinking about the commission often before the deal. And so it's a little bit of a challenge that way. Yes, you do see a lot of properties that go, wow, look at that property. And often they're in front of you before they even go to market. So that's really, really a great opportunity. So I guess it depends on your discipline to treat yourself as a true investor, true buyer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And with any real estate agent, you guys are always really good at lead generation. That's one of your strengths, is being able to get people to call you, get leads rolling in. And it's one of the hard parts about being an investor, is finding those deals, is getting those deals under contract, finding things that actually pencil. So from your perspective, building systems to get inbound leads, what are the things that the biggest hacks, I guess, that you'd say to build your systems?
Well, I'm going to go away from systems. I'm going to say it's about relationships. The good deals often happen outside of the systems that you normally think of. And so it's really about relationships. And I'll even I'll step back a step, knowing that I'm an agent. What I did is I partnered with a real estate investor early on, 3-4 years in, and together we would go and buy property. Now, I had the incentive of finding the dirt or the property, and then having my partner be the buyer And so I could actually separate that a little bit. And so I had many deals come to me, not because I was the investor, because I was the good agent that could always close a deal with a good investor.
Mm.
And that's how I did. So I would say relationships are really probably the key in finding the right deals, because if you got a really good agent that's investment minded, that finds those deals, people come to you. You're a bit of a magnet, and so often deals would just come to me. Hey, Randy, I know you've got somebody that's going to close on a property like this within 7 to 10 days if it's the right deal. And so I had a lot of business coming to me that way. And then of course you got to do the usual things as well, and have good systems where you're building funnels and having, property owners seek you out, investors seek you out. And one of the things that I did is I got involved in a lot of investment clubs.
Hmm.
And the clubs are magical for me. Be in a room with 200-300 investors on a monthly basis. So there's just so much networking and synergy and collaboration there. That really developed a lot of business as well.
Yeah, relationships is a common theme that pops up on this podcast. How important they are. Doesn't matter what hat you're wearing in the real estate industry. If you're an agent, if you're an investor, if you're a mortgage broker, whatever, relationships are key. So makes a lot of sense.
It's a contact sport, baby.
Yeah, 100%. So before the podcast, you and I were chatting a little bit about mindset. It's one of the things that you really like to focus on, because it doesn't matter what you're building, what type of business you're in. If you're an agent, if you're an investor, if you're an operator, whatever, mindset is extremely important. So you've had a very long career. What are some of the aha moments that you've had surrounding mindset?
Well, markets are always changing, and you have to be able to roll with the punches. And rolling with the punches is basically having a bit of an underdog mentality and spirit about it, and knowing that adversity is going to come. Like it's just never, it's never, a straight freeway highway and you're flat out. You're going to have some curves and ups and downs, and you're going to have to take some off ramps once in a while. So it's about understanding that and being prepared for that off ramp when you need to take it, discipline. But I often talk about stacking adversity, and adversity comes at us all the time. And the more that you learn to be able to stack adversity, and what happens when you can stack adversity over and over and over again, you get what I call an incredible resilience shield. Because it's never going to be perfect. It's always going to have some highs and lows. And gosh, I don't know what your market's doing. I think your market in Seattle is not too bad right now, but up here in Vancouver, man, we're in a tough market right now. It's really struggling. And I got my resilience shield out because I'm just fighting off a lot of stuff that doesn't look great. I've got investors that are upset. I've got investors trying to find something, but nothing pencils. So, it's just knowing that there's going to be highs and lows, and got to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learn to deal with it.
That is that is a hard. Every deal that I get into, I'm always like, this is the one. This is the one that's going to go perfectly. Everything is going to be right, but that's just never the case. Things always go wrong, and that's why it's so important to build your resilience, to get that grit.
On that note, I just want to share something on that note. There's always going to be good deals and bad deals, but one of the things we talked about earlier is relationships. And so, your partnerships are way more important than the deal. Because when difficult times or a difficult deal comes and you think it's going to be great and you're all excited and then it doesn't work out, I'd rather be in a bad deal with a good partner than a good deal with a bad partner.
That is a really, really wise piece of advice there. And I've experienced it myself, and I 100% agree. Because if you're in a deal with a partner who doesn't keep a positive attitude about solving problems, that can be more stressful, because every problem is solvable. Really, every problem is solvable. All you got to do when shit goes wrong is just fix it. You just got to keep moving forward, keep fixing it. There's going to be a solution. But if somebody in the team is just consistently negative, and they're not willing to kind of think outside of the box and find the solution, it really brings it down. So I 100% agree with with that sentiment. You're also the first person to say it like that, and so I really appreciate it. One thing about I'm interested, Canada, you're right above us. We're like 3 hours drive or something like that. I have always wanted to buy real estate in Victoria because we love going to Victoria. What I understand about Canada, and tell me if I'm right here, right or wrong, is that you guys don't have 30-year fixed mortgages. You guys only have floating interest rates.
We do. So we have a fixed rate for an amortization of 25, 30 years. However, we then negotiate a term with the lender, and that could be an open. So it's floating with the Bank of Canada rate, which is set by the government. And then the banks usually go about 2 to 2.5% above that floating rate as your floating rate, or prime. They call it prime plus one, prime plus two, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Or you negotiate 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, maybe a 10 year. So you're always renegotiating your mortgage rates.
Interesting.
And
So
it's amortized
really,
over the 30 years or 25 years.
Yeah. So it is really difficult to underwrite investment properties in Canada, I would imagine, because the interest rate is something that can have a huge impact on your cash flow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if it just pops up like it did in the last year or so, has an impact.
Hello, I had that happen. So, I've got multiple properties and they're all staggered differently when those terms come up, depending on when I bought the property or when we negotiated. And a couple of them, all of a sudden we're paying, 7% interest where we were paying, on a floating rate, it was around 2%, 1.5. Like it was free money there for years and years. It was free money. And then you go from 2% to 7%, like in a span of 6-8 months, like yowzer, that changes everything. The numbers get kind of ugly in a hurry.
Yeah. And on a larger, commercial project, that would absolutely, I mean, and all the underwriting that I do, that would totally tank it. If you go from 2 to 7%, that would kick you in the face right there. So that's rough. That's a rough environment. But hey, like you said, when things get rough, you just got to put on your shield and keep moving forward.
And that's where that good partner is more important than anything else.
100%. All right, I took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down, so we are going to have to move on. Before we do, though, when I was reading through the submission that you did for this podcast, I noticed that you wrote down that you do kite surfing, which is, for somebody in Vancouver, I just feel like you've got to be the only one. How did you get into kite surfing, and do you do it? I'm sure you wear like a wetsuit and everything, but yeah, that's pretty unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I was down in the Caribbean and I saw these guys just ripping out in the water. And I said, man, and I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie myself. So I saw it and I said, I have to do that. So I took a few lessons there, but I needed to take more lessons. And you pull on a full one-piece wetsuit and you get out there and we have some of the best kite surfing, though, up in Squamish, halfway between Vancouver and Whistler. There's a great little town called Squamish, and the wind there is fantastic. Some of the best wind in the world.
Interesting. You wouldn't think about it like Canadians wanting to do kite surfing because it's so cold up there. But I mean, it's the same temperature that we got. But I wouldn't want to go out in the Puget Sound here and get in the water. So I guess that builds your resilience, like you were talking about.
Well, your goal is not to be in the water.
Good point. All right, I'm taking this opportunity, moving us to the quick question round. Are you ready?
Right on.
All right, starts with education. It could be any form, could be a conference you've gone to, mentorship program you've been a part of, book you've read, movie you've seen, anything. I need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate. Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life,
We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. So if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
Well, I'm going to go way, way back to 1984. I went to Columbia Bible College in Abbotsford, BC, which grounded me really well. I met my beautiful wife there, and we've been married 38 years now. So that's that. And as far as real estate, course, I really like ninja selling from a real estate agent's perspective, or my coaching, which is called Scientific Scaling Systems, which is a combination of relationship selling and being that magnetic individual that people want to work with.
Perfect. I love it. All right. Next question is for your younger self. Let's go back to Randy of 1992. He was just finishing up that license. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Continue to stay disciplined and stay in one lane. Don't have the squirrel mentality, shiny object mentality, where you try too many things. Like, find your way, find your lane, and stay in your lane.
Honestly, I feel like that is one of the biggest hacks for success, is just not getting shiny object syndrome. I've got it way too many times, and I feel like that's even applicable to what you're focused on within your career. You know, real estate is a pretty big career, but if you are umbrella, but you really need to focus in. Like, if you want to be an investor or an operator, you know, and invest in real estate, you have to choose an asset class and focus on that one asset class, get good at it. Really niching down and staying the course is one of the it's the biggest hacks for getting.
And, you know, and when you have success, you start to think you're good at everything, and you're not.
Yeah. You're successful because you had so many reps on that thing that you did.
Yeah.
And then you move into another sphere and you're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. So here we go. That is good advice. And I'm going to move us on to the next question. This is usually it's about the US, but since you're in Canada, we're going to open it up to the entire world. It's a big place. There is a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
If it's Canada, I would say Calgary, Alberta. And if it's the world, I think the US is always great. And I just hear great things about Texas. Texas has got a lot of opportunity, I believe, and Arizona.
All right. Why Calgary?
Calgary's got a lot of opportunity because it's a little bit more redneck, and they have less rules and regulations, because rules and regulations are killing the world.
Yeah.
Compliance is wrecking the world and wrecking capitalism. Socialism is wrecking the world.
Yeah.
I said it here. And so they're a little less socialistic, and they've got a lot of oil and gas. And gosh, you know, I'm going to just give a plug out to Canada here. We should be the richest country in the world with all our resources, land base, the number of people we have living here. We should be the richest country in the world, and our government is screwing it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hallelujah. I've heard, you know, I'm not Canadian, but I've heard a lot of that sentiment from people up there. Well, you know, we get a very unique subset on this podcast of Canadians. I'm sure there's other opinions in Canada, but it sounds like that is the general opinion on the people that have been on the podcast, is that they're not happy with how the government's going. So hopefully that changes in the future, but we'll see. All right, next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning that purchase agreement. So what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
My favorite way to find deals is doing a deal, because a deal brings another deal, brings another deal, brings another deal. So it is all about being active and being, you know, the go-to guy or the go-to gal in the marketplace. Your best marketing piece of anything is just production. Production breeds production breeds production. And so it's about doing deals. What if you don't have any deals? Well, go and fake that you've done deals. I don't know. You know, people love people that bring enthusiasm, energy, and a can-do, way of doing things, just a can-do spirit. And
Yep.
so, that's where I started, 28 years old. I was, no relatives, no contacts, basically in my town. I just had to go and show people that I was the most enthusiastic, most energetic, and the most can-do kind of guy they could ever meet. And here I am.
Yep. And I like that you said be active, because I feel like I'm realizing more and more how important that is. You don't really think about it when you're getting started, but as you get more traction, you realize, when you complete deals, when you do deals, that everybody you touch in that process, which is a lot of people, they're all, relationships that you're building, and over time, those kind of coalesce into its own I don't know, system that's bringing you more deals and getting more things done. It's all done under the surface, and you're not like perceiving it until you realize, 5 years down the road, holy crap, this is happening. It's kind of building on itself. So it's good advice. And that leads us to the next question. This is about lessons learned. Not every deal we get into goes the way we expect it. In fact, many times things go wrong and we get to learn a lesson. So what was the deal that went a little sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
A bad deal that went sideways was actually outside of real estate, because I was doing so well in real estate. And I shared this earlier. Sometimes you think you're good at everything. So then I thought, well, I'm going to get into a manufacturing distribution business. I knew nothing about lighting, of all things, but I thought, I'm so good at real estate, I'll just crush this too. And gosh, I lost $500,000 in about 6 weeks.
Oh.
So that was a really bad decision. I kind of made up for it by turning some of that loss into a property that I got into a bad relationship or bad partnership there too. So I learned that lesson in that deal. That deal had a lot of good, bad lessons in it. So, yeah.
But you take those with you as you go into the next deals, and now you're more informed. You know that manufacturing is not your forte, and you stick to real estate. That is interesting. I'm sure there's a good story there. Why did you choose manufacturing?
Well, I'd done a little bit of real estate with this individual, and so he gave me a pretty good pitch, and this was going to be a really unique and interesting, different lighting system, and the way lights, and you look around, there's just lights everywhere, and I just thought, yeah, this makes some sense, and
Yeah. All right.
invested a lot of dough, and next thing it was gone.
Yeah. I mean, that happens, but that's another reason, the good lesson there is stick to your lane. Like you mentioned, you're really good at real estate. Doesn't necessarily apply to other spheres. And that's something that I feel like even myself, I struggle with at times too. So good lesson there. That moves us to the next question. This is about raising capital. Actually, you don't really do massive deals like this. So do you do a lot of raising capital at all? Or is that something that, that generally falls out of your purview?
I don't do a lot of raising capital, but I do a lot of introductions.
Oh, okay.
So I like to be Cupid for people. And so because I know a lot of people that are either needing money or whatever, and so through my relationships or whatever, I do a lot of introductions, play Cupid, and the odd time I'll get compensated for it, but that's not where I spend my energy.
Yeah, makes sense. But it brings it back to relationships. Like you said, that is the bedrock of real estate. It's something you are good at, it sounds like, which is good. And that leads us to the last question. This is for the listeners. You've given us a lot to think about. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. This is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what can they expect when they reach out?
The easiest way is, well, I'm all over the web, but if you're looking on Instagram, it's Randy C. Dyck, D-Y-C-K. You can pronounce it Dyke or Dick, doesn't matter. Just call me or reach out to me. My cell number is 604-807-4366. And if you're looking to have either some advice on what's a good investment, whether it be in Canada or around the world, I've got something in my portfolio that would probably be something that you're looking at. So I can give you some good advice, some bad advice on that. And if you're a real estate agent, I'd love to help you level up your game and help you scale through science and build some systems for you.
There you go. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out to Randy, All you got to do is click the little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find his links. All right, Randy, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thank you, Gabe. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. For everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.